Allen Iverson, one of the all-time great basketball players. I think it was Kobe Bryant that said that let's just all be grateful that Allen Iverson isn't 6'7", because what he was saying is if he was, he would have just taken the league apart. As it was, Allen Iverson was still one of the greatest players of his generation, and perhaps even of all time. And he had that kind of what I would call Roger Federer sort of sleek, smooth, gliding around the court kind of feel, as opposed to that kind of high power that you would associate with someone like, say, Shaquille O'Neal. A great player, one of the all-time greats, and he spawned one of the all-time great shoes, and that's what we're looking at today, is this Reebok Question Mid. Now, we've been here before many times at the channel, and it's one of my favourite shoes to look at because I didn't know much about it, but thanks to having this channel, I was able to look into it, dig into it, and find out why it's an important shoe and why it's worth talking to you guys about. And then this particular shoe, there's an awful lot going on it. Stuff I've never seen before on Reebok Question Mids. Great tie-up to football when it's a basketball sneaker, and I should say football because I'm British. And then also some great hits on there, a really unique insole, and then a question about the branding and why they didn't go in a particular direction, which would have made it even hotter, if you ask me. So with all that coming down the line, let's just get into it. Take a close-up look at the upcoming release of the Reebok Question Mid Philadelphia Eagles. This is the Tokyo Butter 23 Sneaker Channel. Tokyo Butter 23 Sneaker Channel des. 毎日アップするので毎日見てください. And every single day from Tokyo, Japan, I bring you content about upcoming sneaker releases, sneaker news, and sneaker reviews. And today what we're looking at the upcoming release of the Nike of the Reebok Question Mid Philadelphia Eagles. A beautiful shoe. And like I said, I've looked at a lot of these. Even recently there was the yellow toe, and it's important to know about that yellow toe because there's a feature on there. Actually, there's two features on there. There's one missing from the yellow toe that is on the Philadelphia Eagles, and there's one on the yellow toe that isn't on the Philadelphia Eagles that we'll get in today as we look at those details and look at this great shoe and this tie-up, this football tie-up. And I say football because in the UK football is soccer, so Americans or Brits perhaps out there, when I say football, you guys think of a totally different thing, and we're talking about American football and the Philadelphia Eagles. And it's Philadelphia Eagles because the first team that Allen Iverson played for straight out of the draft was the Philadelphia 76ers. Well, I've got that right. And of course, the big basketball team in the city, and then the big football team. And as I said, Allen Iverson loved his football, so it makes sense to tie this shoe to that football team. And I also wonder, a bit political, don't usually talk about politics at the channel, but given the state of the American election and what's going on in Pennsylvania in general and Philadelphia in particular, that there's I wonder if that kind of highlight on the state right now will have a big part to play on this shoe, so that's something to look out for. But without further ado, let's just get into it and talk about the shoe. There's a lot in there and a lot to go on and a lot of details, and I'm going to start with the thing that is on the yellow toes and isn't on these guys. So we'll go back to the yellow toes, and one of the things I really liked about them was the way that the branding in yellow was outlined in purple, and it gave really great definition. Especially yellow on white would be very difficult to see, but the purple outline really worked. Now if we come back to today's shoe, before we zoom in on it, three different colors going on in here: jade green, if I can call it that, grey, and white, and that's to do with the uniform of the time. And I think I'm right in saying it's like late 80s into the 90s is when the Eagles were playing in these colours. So it matches the home kit, especially of the Philadelphia Eagles. Now the question is though, and hopefully I'm zooming in on this up on the tongue, and a side note is one of the favourite things about these guys is the way that the branding is offset on the tongue, so slightly to the side instead of being dead centre, very much like that. But what you should be looking at, and I'll maybe be up on the tongue, and then I'll drop down to the midfoot where you see the branding one more time. And I know for a fact on the midfoot it definitely is jade with a jade outline, so there's no difference between the branding itself and the outline that wraps around it. Why didn't they go with grey on the outline? That would have been very clean, or even a grey branding colour with the jade outline on there. And like I say, if we go back to the yellow toes, hopefully what you'll see here is that outline around the branding that gives it a bit of definition and a bit of pop. And then back to today's shoe, and you ask that question of yourself: should they have gone with a little bit of colouring on the border and the outline and the edge of these guys, just to give it a little little bit more pop. But they didn't. Still a great looking shoe. And then not too far from that is the lacing system. Now, I can't speak about Reebok question mids in the same way I could about, say, Jordan 1s. Everybody in the sneaker world knows details of the Jordan 1s. As far as I know, what I'm about to say is correct, but it might be wrong. And if it's wrong, I'm sorry. But I'll be able to show you it, and hopefully that'll justify my faith in myself that this is true. And what I'm talking about is, again, we'll go back to those yellow toes, that the lateral side lace loops spell out Reebok, 6 lace loops, R-E-E-B-O-K, and you should be able to see that here. And then the medial side ones didn't have anything. No, they had Reebok branding down them. So that little 3 sort of stripe, kind of funny swooshy line, racy branding for Reebok was what was down the medial side of the lace loops. And then if we come to today's shoe, you'll be able to see same feature on the lateral side, the Reebok written on there. But then this angle shows you on the medial side, Reebok written again. And I think that's an important design feature. And if I'm wrong, like I said, if there's something wrong with this picture or it's not exactly how it should be, then my bad. But as far as I can tell, and this is kind of unusual for Reebok question mids, is that both sets of lace loops down the left and the right side of the shoe, the lateral and the medial side, spell out Reebok, which is very cool. And it's in that Philadelphia Eagles colorway, as are the laces, very white laces, but a very cool border in that jade green around the edge, which must be hard to do, must be very difficult to design laces like this. They could have gone with like a speckled green effect, and that would have been random, no need to worry about it. But having those thin lines on the outside edges of the lace is hard to design, hard to keep straight, but looks very, very, very good. And then coming down from that, we get to the toe. Now, I read somewhere as patent leather toe, and I'm just going to go full on and disagree. And I'm only disagreeing because it just doesn't look like patent leather to me. And again, if I'm wrong about that, it's just my opinion. You can share your opinions down below and we'll still be friends, even if it's a difference of opinion. But all I'm seeing here is shiny leather. I'm not seeing patent leather on that toe there, but I might be wrong about that. But it's very, very cool. It looks really good, nice pump of jade right at the front end, jade right at the front end of the shoe. And then it's not too far to go to the midsole, where you see the first real strong hits of grey that is that third colour I was talking about, and then that hexalite air unit front and back, which is the distinctive feature of especially like 1990s era Reeboks with the hexalite on the inside as well. And you can see that hopefully in the pictures I'm showing you here. And then if we go around to the back, you've got those 2 hits of branding, one up high and one down low. And I'm going to go ahead and say it's white branding on a jade background. I'm pretty sure I've got that right, which is the inverse of everywhere else in the shoe, where it's jade branding on a white background. And that matches the sort of narrative of question mids. They tend to do this, where the colour branding, colour blocking on the back of the shoe is the opposite of the other parts of the shoe. So up high, you've got that Reebok branding around the circle, which I think is supposed to represent a Q. And then down low, you've got the number 3 for Allen Iverson on these shoes. And then we'll flip them upside down and have a look at the outsole. A very interesting looking sort of muddy grey outsole. And I'll zoom in on that one point there that says something like non-marking outsole or something like that, because apparently you wear these guys on the hardwood and it doesn't leave a bunch of marks after you, which I'm sure the caretakers are very, very grateful for. But also on there, you've got the Reebok branding down the centre of the outsole in that jade colorway as well. And then the final thing I think that I need to get to is the insole. Very, very unique, and represents that football that we were talking about, the Philadelphia Eagles, like we were saying all along. And here you'll be able to see it looks like a football field. A very unique looking out insole. Don't generally see this very often on shoes, but very cool. And to me, it looks very, very good. So, so all in all, great looking shoe. Lots of details going on there. Great balance between the colours of the jade green, the white, and the grey as well. I would have, like I say, liked to have seen perhaps grey on the outline of the branding, but that's a small detail against what is a very, very clean shoe. And I totally forgot the main point of the shoe. How bad is this? Oh man. This is the first thing I thought when I saw these shoes. It's the first time I've seen Reebok question mids with a mesh upper instead of a leather upper. It's a real major feature of the shoes, and I can't believe I almost forgot to talk about it, but you'll be able to see it zoomed in on here, that mesh effect on the top end of the shoe, which is usually leather, but still very cool, but gives it that feel of an American football jersey. So so all in all, great shoe. Everything about it is a big plus for me. I think it's very cool. I think we're talking about early December, the drop date. I might be right in saying December the 4th, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But coming real soon, and hopefully, people who are interested in getting this shoe have watched this video and like, now I know enough about this shoe to actually say, yes, I'm going to dig into my pocket and get my hands on these, because they're very, very cool. Okay, with that being said, it's time for me to chip off, get out of here and go and edit this video. So I'm just going to do what I do at the end of every video, which is just thank you guys for checking in, checking out the content. But it's time for me to head out. So I'll just remind you that I do this every single day. And that means that you are guaranteed to see me tomorrow.